You ever been fined $20,000 just for having too many cars? No, I'm not kidding. $20,000. That's not a typo. It's not a scam email from a fake prince in Nigeria. It's my HOA and this. This is the story of how I got mad, got strategic, and ended up owning their entire damn block. So let me back up just a little. My name's Nate. I live in Southern California, San Marcos, to be exact. Not quite LA, not quite San Diego. Got that dry heat, palm trees, and just enough HOA nonsense to make you question whether freedom really exists in the suburbs. I'm a car guy, always have been. Not street racing, not fast and furious, nothing illegal. I restore vintage trucks and off-roaders. Legit business, got a big garage, licensed and zoned. My driveway's long, my house is tucked away in a cul-de-sac. I'm not out here turning the block into a used car lot, alright? But I do have a few projects going at once. You know, a 74 Bronco, a 98 Tacoma, my own daily driver, and maybe 2 or 3 in process. Okay, 4. But neatly parked, off-street, no oil stains, no trash clean as a whistle. Enter Karen. Now, her real name is Phyllis, but she's the walking embodiment of Karen in a visor. She's the HOA president, self-appointed savior of the neighborhood's aesthetic integrity. Never smiled. Wears orthopedic sandals and a Bluetooth headset like she's running NASA. Always peering through her blinds like a hawk waiting for someone to mow an inch too late. At first, it was notes on my door, then emails, then surprise compliance visits. And I always thought, hey, maybe she's just doing her job. Until I got that fine in the mail. 20 grand. 20 grand. For vehicle congestion, persistent visual obstruction, and community disruption. I thought it was a joke. Called the number. Nope, totally real. They cited some vague rule about excess non-residential vehicles visible from the street. I said, lady, these are personal vehicles. I live here. But oh, nota late. The fine was issued. Appealed it. Rejected within an hour. The ink wasn't even dry. So, I started digging. You ever get that itch where something just doesn't sit right? That's where I was. I started pulling county records, zoning maps, property filings. Spent my evenings elbow deep in PDFs and more PDFs. And then I found the entire HOA board was technically squatting on an easement. See, back when this neighborhood was developed in the late 90s, the builder never finished the proper land transfer paperwork for the common areas. That includes the street medians, the so-called community center, and get this, the HOA's own little office building. The deed? Still listed under the builder's holding company. And that company? Dissolved in 2007. Meaning it was in limbo. Meaning it was up for grabs. And that's when fate stepped in. Me old college roommate, Travis, now a hotshot real estate attorney with a thing for revenge stories, happened to be in town. We had a few beers, I told him what was happening, and his eyes lit up like a kid in a candy store. Bro, he said, you could buy them. I laughed. He didn't. No, seriously, if the county hasn't reassigned that land, and if the HOA's using it without title, you might be able to buy the lien rights. Quiet title it. Own their headquarters. So that's what we did. We filed paperwork. Hired a title firm. Took months, but we bought the defaulted lots one by one. I created a holding LLC called Too Many Cars, LLC, because Petty is powerful and purchased the undated common areas for pennies on the dollar. It was so easy it felt illegal. But it wasn't. It was just paperwork no one ever followed up on. While all that was moving, I stayed quiet. Paid their stupid fines. Nodded in the meetings. Parked a little less obviously. Karen thought she won. That smug little smile of hers at the annual HOA barbecue? I still taste it. Meanwhile, I was holding the receipts. Then came the best day of my life. Certified letters went out to every board member. Notice of trespass and unauthorized occupation. From now on, the HOA office, the storage sheds, and the entire street medium property. I wasn't evicting anyone, not yet. Just letting them know rent was due. Karen stormed down my driveway, lips pursed like she'd sucked a lemon through a straw. You think this is funny, Nathaniel? She screeched. Oh no, I said, sipping my lemonade. This is hilarious. She called an emergency HOA meeting. Guess where they tried to hold it? That's right, the office that now legally belonged to Too Many Cars, LLC. I posted a sheriff's notice on the door that morning. Meeting canceled due to lack of location. The board panicked. Tried to sue. Travis laughed them out of court. We had clean title, clean purchase, public notice. They had emails and a binder from Staples. Then I hit them where it really hurt. I applied for a commercial zoning variance on the medians and common areas. Planted big OL signs. Future site of cars and coffee auto museum. Traffic? Let's bring in some classic Chevys every Saturday morning. Noise. Let's install a vintage jukebox on the median. HOA bylaw violation? Not anymore. I'm not in the HOA. I own the land. And guess who has to maintain it now at my rates? The final twist? The HOA's legal fund had to dip into resident dues. People were furious. The board tried to hide the financials, but it leaked Karen had personally approved $50,000 in legal defense that went nowhere. And when residents dug further, they found years of, let's just say, financial mismanagement. Private lunches, conference retreats, a suspicious landscaping contract that was run through her nephew's business. At the next board election, the whole gang was voted out in a landslide. As for Karen, she moved. Couldn't take the stairs anymore. Her house sold under market, and I heard she's now living in a condo with no HOAO, the irony. I still live here, still fixing up cars. I even rent out the old HOA office as a co-working space now. Call it poetic justice with a monthly lease. And yeah, if you've ever been steamrolled by a petty HOA or had to deal with a Karen on a power trip, let me know in the comments. I know I'm not the only one with a revenge story under their hood. Hit that like, subscribe, and tell me. What would you do if your HOA tried to fine you for living your life?